Okay, these are the main concepts that you need to know for this quiz. Sections 1-4 to 1-6. Be able to name angles. So if I want to name adjacent angles, they're angles that share the same vertex and a common side. So I'm going to use angle LCN is adjacent to angle NCP, these two blue ones. There's a lot of different answers. Vertical angles are angles that are formed by intersecting lines, and they're angles that are opposite. So I'm going to use those two angles. So angle LCT and angle PCR. And supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180 degrees. So which ones make a line? Two angles together that make a line. So I'm going to use TCR makes a line with PCR. So angle TCR makes a line with angle RCP or PCR. Oops, P. Make sure you have angle symbols. Make sure the vertex is always the middle letter. Make sure you use capital letters. I cleared it so we could see the complementary angles better. So complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees. So this is my 90-degree symbol right here, so I need to use these two angles, these two purple ones. So the purple ones are angle LCN and angle PCN. Complementary angles and supplementary angles do not have to be adjacent. Vertical angles are never adjacent because they might share the same vertex, but they don't share a common side. What is a supplement? So adds up to 80 of a 50-degree angle. So 50 and some other angle has to add up to 180 degrees. That's 130 degrees. The second example is an algebraic example. If angle 1 and angle 2 are complements, it means that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 90 degrees by definition of complementary angles. So now I can substitute that 1 is 2x plus 2 and 2 is 6x plus 8, and they have to equal 90. In order to find the measure of each angle, I need to solve for x. So I simplify, combine like terms, use the subtraction property of equality, and use the division property of equality to get x equals 10. I still didn't answer the question though, because I need to figure out what the angle measures are. So in the end, you plug in 10 right here and right here. So the answer is 2 times 10 plus 2 is 22 degrees. Therefore, the other one must be 68 degrees to be complements. Okay, if angle AHS is a right, or AHS is a right angle, this AHG would have to be a right angle. So I'm putting both those symbols in. Always mark your diagram. If the measure of angle FHDG is 42, find the measure of angle AHF. So AHF is this angle. Well, these two are complementary. They add up to 90. So this must be 48 degrees. So I write this right here. FHS is, mark this, FHS is this purple one. So the purple one is 90 plus 48. It's these two angles together. So that's 138 degrees. SHD, I'm going to mark it, SHD is this blue one right here. Well, that's vertical with FHG, so this has to be 42 degrees. So I write 42 degrees. And the last question says name 2 supplementary angles to FHG. I'm going to clear this so we can see them better. Okay, 2 angles supplementary to FHG. I'm going to mark FHG. So I need to find 2 angles that make a line with FHG. So this makes a line. So this is angle DHG is supplementary. The second one I'm going to change color. This yellow one makes a line as well. So there's two answers, angle FHS. Make sure you can name an angle 4 different ways. So you can name it by its vertex, which is angle M. You can name it by the little angle in the middle, which is angle 1. And you can name it NMO, or go the other way, OMN. But what you can't do is you could not label it NOM. Nope, because the vertex always has to be the middle letter. The vertex is M, that's why it's the middle letter. If the measure of angle BPA is 36 degrees, so I'm going to mark BPA 36 degrees, find CPD. So CPD. Well, they have two intersecting lines, and angles opposite are vertical, so this must be 36 degrees as well. So this is 36 degrees. Then it wants me to find the measure of angle DPA. So DPA is right here. DPA is supplementary. It makes a line with both of these angles. So this needs to be 180 degrees minus 36 degrees. So the answer is 144 degrees for DPA. Make sure you always put degree symbols in as well, or you can write out DEGREES. For some reason the slide cut out, so I added what is the midpoint of the segment BC. And the second question is, if A is the midpoint of EB, what is E? So the first question, what is the midpoint of BC? So the midpoint is the average, the center of a segment. So if this is 1, if B is at 1 and C is at 6, I just add them and divide by 2. So the midpoint is 3.5, which that looks like the center right there. The second question said, if A is the midpoint of EB, what is E? So AB needs to be half the distance between EA, so I need to go this way. How many units? Well, this one was 1, 2, 3, so I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3, so E must be at -5. It always helps for these to draw sketches too, if there's not one provided. Use the segment addition postulate to solve for x and find the distance between AB and BC. So I'm given that this whole segment length, this whole distance is 38. And I know that by the segment addition postulate, AB plus BC equals AC by the segment addition postulate. I can use substitution and write 3x plus 4 plus 5x minus 6 equals 38 by substitution. I can use the addition property of equality, or not addition property of equality, but addition, substitute, or simplify or combine like terms. It's not the addition property of equality to do this step because I'm not doing the same thing to each side. I'm just combining like terms. So that's either addition, combine like terms, or simplify is all acceptable. Then I'm going to add 2 to each side. So this is the addition property of equality. So I'll have 8x equals 40. So therefore x equals 5 by the division property of equality. But I have to be careful because the question said find A, B, and BC, so make sure you actually answer the question. So just because x is 5 doesn't mean that we're done. So I need to plug in 5 right here. So it's 3 times 5 plus 4. So this segment's 19. I could either do 38 minus 19 to get this one, or I can plug in 5 up here. So 5 times 5 is 25 minus 6 is 19. Okay, these segments are both the same, so actually this B must be the midpoint. Okay, midpoint situation. It says K is the midpoint of JL. So that means that JK equals KL by definition of midpoint. So now I'm going to use substitution. I should write this in my diagram up here too. 8x minus 10. So therefore, 7x minus 4 equals 8x minus 10 by substitution. Now I'm just going to use algebra, so the subtraction property of equality. So I use, this is substitution. This is the subtraction property of equality. And then I'm going to add 10 to both sides. So it's 6 equals x, so I use the addition property of equality. But the question said find JL. So if x equals 6, you can plug it into any one of these. So 42 minus 4 is 38. This is 38, which if k is the midpoint, these two are both equal. So this is 38. If I add these two together, 38 is 72. Oh, just kidding, 76. So JL is 76. Okay, also be able to name skew lines. So FB is skew with AC, EG. They're on different planes and they'll never intersect. So I'm going to name it as a line. Make sure you put a line symbol above it. And FB. These two are skewed together. Name parallel planes. So planes that I can use the top right here and use the bottom. So when you're naming planes, you need to use 3 or 4 letters that are capital and no commas. So the top is EFB and the bottom is HDC. Also make sure you know how to name rays that are equal. So I'll do the equal ones in red. The ray BC goes this way. It's equal or congruent to the ray BA. Okay, there's starting at B and going in the same direction. Opposite rays are different. Opposite rays have the same endpoint, C, but they're going in opposite directions to make a line. So CB is opposite with the ray CA. Make sure when you're using ray symbols, the ray always goes this way. Okay, there's always 2 letters with no comma in between.